I almost got kidnapped while running. For some background, I am a 13-year-old girl. I am also on the track and cross-country teams in my school. This means that to stay in shape, I have to do a lot of running. I live in a very small rural town. There are some beautiful roads around my house that I run on. I have a specific route that I like to run. Because we live in such a small town, my parents are okay with me going out for runs alone as long as I take my phone. My course is about 3 miles around and winds through some incredibly beautiful scenery. Now, into the story. One day, it was especially nice. So, I decided to go for a run. I got into my running gear, grabbed my phone, and told my parents I was going out. I ran down my driveway and up the first road. I passed the usual stuff like incredible wide open cornfields and green trees that stretched over my head. Everything was normal. I had my headphones in, so I really couldn't hear anything. I ran about a mile up the road when I came to a stop sign. I waited for a little bit to catch my breath. I had only seen one car because it was such an isolated place. So I found it a little bit strange when I saw that same car, a faded red colored pickup truck, parked on the other side of the street. However, I didn't give it more than a second thought because there were some pretty weird people living in my town. However, I noticed the guy inside of the car was an older man who looked to be in his 40s or 50s, and he was just staring at me. Now, I didn't know why and found this extremely creepy. He seemed to be trying to talk to me, so I took out my headphones. "I'm sorry, are you trying to talk to me?" I said in a polite tone. "Yes," he said in a rough sort of smoker's voice. "Do you need a ride?" No, I told him, still trying to be polite, although I was really uncomfortable. "Get in the car," he said in a surprisingly calm voice. "No," I said. I full-on sprinted the next 2 miles. He was following me the whole way, never letting up. I was so scared and ran for my life. Finally, I was becoming weak. Even though I am in great shape, I slow down and the truck catches up to me. The door opens as he stops, but my adrenaline kicks in and I ran all the way home. I have still not told my parents about this, afraid that they might not let me run on my own anymore. Thankfully, I have never seen that man again. And to the creepy man in the pickup truck, let's not meet again. Skinwalker in the Woods. I live right next to a Navajo reservation and have made friends with many of the people there my age. We like to hang out, play video games, and just be normal teens. I walk over a lot since my best friend lives a little less than a mile away from me. This isn't a long trek and usually only takes me about 25-30 minutes. I've made this trip dozens of times and have grown very comfortable with it. I know the people along the way, so I'm not scared or on edge. There is a patch of forest, however, about midway there. It's a little unnerving sometimes. There is always that feeling of being watched. This was a regular occurrence for me, so I tried to just ignore it and shake it off as my mind playing tricks on me. This day, I spent more time at my friend's house than I meant to, and when I left, it was already getting dark. I reached the stretch of forest right as the sun disappeared from the sky. I shivered a little as I readied myself to begin the journey through. I was 10 steps in when I heard a branch snap. You know the sound? The one that screams there is definitely someone or something there with you? I froze, not sure of what I should do next. Should I run? Should I turn around and book it back to my friend's house? I didn't know the best option in this situation. I whispered, "Hello?" Hearing my voice crack as the words fell from my lips. I don't know why I even opened my mouth, but it was out there, so I listened for any reply. My heart sank when the answer came back in the sound of my voice. "Hello?" I started to breathe too fast. My heart pounded against my chest. I felt like I might faint. "Hello?" My voice came again, but not from my mouth. I wanted to run, but my feet felt cemented to the ground. I couldn't scream. I couldn't reply. As my voice echoed over and over from a short distance away, I couldn't pinpoint exactly where it was coming from. It sounded like it was everywhere around me. "Hello? Hello? Hello?" It repeated. "Stop it," I finally managed to tear from my lips. Everything went silent. For a long minute, nothing happened. The air grew stale. And I realized for the first time that there were no typical forest sounds. There were no bugs, no frogs or crickets, nothing. I stood there terrified, waiting to see what would happen next. "Stop it," it mimicked back. I'd had enough and was willing my heavy legs to move. Before I could take a step, I heard rustling in the bushes 20 feet to my left. I watched in horror as a deer head with huge antlers protruded through the brush. As it came further out and stood up on twos, I took off. I flew out of those woods and all the way home in record time. I said nothing to my mom when I got there. I just went up to my room, laid down, and thought about what happened. My mother came in at some point and asked me if everything was all right. I replied that yes, I was just tired. I don't know why I didn't tell her. I guess I might have been afraid of how she would react. I called my friend and told him everything. He freaked out and told me that no matter what happened that night, to not reply or look out my window. This terrified me even more. He said to call him the next morning and he would explain more. And that he had to speak to his grandfather as soon as possible. That night, I didn't sleep at all. I stayed awake, listening to every little sound the night brought. Around 3 a.m., just as I was about to drift off, the air changed. The night sounds quieted. I felt my heart begin to pound. I lay over there and waited, pulling the covers up over my head like a child, far too scared to move. It came after a long moment. "Hello?" I cried. It was all I could do. "Hello?" "Stop it," it mocked. What I had said in the woods again. It was terrifying enough when it copied what I said, but then it did something new. It called my name. "Amy?" My mother's voice. "Amy? Amy? Come here." "Hello?" "Stop it." My voice again. For the rest of the night, the creature outside my window called my name in my mother's voice and repeated what I said in the woods over and over. In the morning, when the sun broke through the dark, it finally stopped. I fell into a fitful sleep. I woke around 12 to my friend calling to tell me he had spoken to his grandfather and could explain what happened to me. He said there was a creature they called Emmablocke, he who goes on all fours, or a skinwalker. He explained that it was an evil witch that used dark magic to transform into an animal with the attributes it required, and that it had caught my scent and knew me now. I was also given a warning that since it knew me, it would always follow me, that I would always have to be careful. Last night I heard scratching on my window, then a low hum. The creature began saying my name again, but also adding in things I hadn't said in my mother's voice. At one point it started calling my name, but drawing it out really far, like Amy. It tried to get me to come outside, or to open the door and let it in my house. This went on all night. At this point, I feel like I'm going crazy. I don't know what to do. Is it seriously going to stalk the shadows around me for the rest of my life? I don't think I can take that. The Haunted Skype Call. Just a note, this story takes place in the eyes of a 15-year-old male in high school. The day started out normal, just like any other day. I woke up early. At around 5:30 a.m., I tiredly shuffled out to the kitchen and got a bowl from the cabinet and poured myself a nice bowl of Lucky Charms. I sat down at the table and began to eat it. I was tired, but my mind was racing because I was finally able to talk to my friend. We'll call James in the story. James had been my friend for 3 years over Skype, and we got along really well. He had been on vacation for 3 weeks, so I was excited to finally be able to talk to him again. I went to school like normal, and when the final bell rang, I bursted through the doors and ran as fast as I could home. It was only about a 5-minute walk, so it was easy to run home. Once I got home, I turned my computer on immediately and opened Skype. I don't think I even took my backpack off. Once I got a minute to calm down, I went and used the restroom and put my backpack down by the kitchen table. Note, I was usually home alone every day as my brother went to school and had football practice after, and my mother worked until 7 p.m. I heard the Skype sound that plays when it opens, so I hopped onto my computer and searched for James' name. I found it, but before I could do anything, I got an incoming Skype call from him. I thought this was unusual, as I always called him, so I thought maybe something happened. I answered, but there was no sound. I sat there confused, so after what felt like a few minutes, I spoke up. "Hello, James, are you there?" With no success for another minute, I was about to say it again, but then I heard something. I heard a sound as if fabric was being rubbed against his microphone, but then the camera came on from his phone. I was shocked because it was completely black with a faint glow from the left side as if the moon was shining in. But it was supposed to be daylight. I sent him a message over text through Skype, but no answer. Right before I was about to hang up the call, I saw one bright ball-shaped object shine to life. I then realized, after the initial shock of seeing them, they were eyes peering directly at me. In less than a second, I hung up the call and sat there scared out of my own skin. I got another incoming call from James. I hesitantly answered, and it was him. He said, "Sorry, I didn't call sooner. I thought you would." So I replied, "Dude, you didn't get my message? You literally just called me." Sadly, he didn't get my message. He didn't even have a log of the call, and when I checked, neither did I. Not even the message. I looked at my phone, then back up to the screen. When I looked, I saw nothing but those creepy eyes and blackness. I shook, and the entire log I just had with him was gone. But the old one was back. I was so scared I started to tear up. When I did, I got a message from James. It read, "Don't be sad, be scared." Suddenly, I felt chills go up my spine as I looked at the time. It said it was 12 a.m., even though it just earlier read 3:30 p.m. I screamed and powered off my computer. Nothing made sense. It was nighttime outside, but I never noticed hours go by. With no one coming home in that moment, I swear I saw some thing standing by the front door. I screamed and got so scared I blacked out, or so I thought. Once I woke, it was 3:34 p.m. and James was on the call. He was asking if I was okay because for the last 4 minutes I kept saying on repeat, "I see you, be scared, I see you, be scared, I see you, be scared." I told him everything. He said it was probably a day terror I had, but after my mom got home and I was done talking to him that day, I went on Skype's files and found a chat log for 12 a.m. with 3Y3S. Ever since then, I deleted Skype and began using Discord. However, every now and then I get messages from unknown number on my phone that says 3Y3S. I blocked that number and nothing has happened for a year. I'm glad to say this. Scary Skype ghost, let's not meet again.